Hopefully you found that assignment quite easy. Now you should be really familiar with including audio sources with game objects and being able to call them from script. I've gone along with Stabknife 02. So obviously, just to cover this, if you weren't entirely sure, then obviously it's just clicking on enemy hit point, going to component, audio and audio source, just adding that. And then I went to the horror SFX folder and the MP3 folder, and I just chose Stabknife 02, just dragged it into that slot. Ensure that play on the wake is unchecked because you're going to be calling it from script, and that the spatial blend is set to 3D, and that the volume roll off is set to linear instead of logarithmic. So in the script, which is obviously the enemy health script, first of all we have to declare an audio source, which I simply called it enemy. Okay, you can call it anything you like. And then I've said in the start, hit enemy equals get component audio source. So now it will know which audio source to talk to. And then under this section, the private void on trigger enter, right here at the bottom, I've simply said hit enemy.play with no delay, so 0. Okay, and every time you hit the enemy, you will make that noise. Okay, which is great. Now the sound is good, but it's very similar to the sound when the enemy is hitting you. It would be nice if there's something to differentiate between you hitting the enemy and the enemy hitting you. So I've also given you an audio file as well. In horror fuse characters sounds, there is the enemy getting it. Okay, so what I want to do with this one is actually put it onto the enemy character. So with the enemy hit point, well actually maybe the body, I'm thinking. What I'd like to do with this is just create a new cube. In fact, I can create an empty, to be honest, because it does create it as you can see right at the feet of the enemy. Maybe just drag this up so it's sort of in the center. And I'll call this one, I don't know, hurt sound maybe. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is give it a component, audio and an audio source. I'm going to drag this enemy getting hit audio into there. Now I won't have play on the wake. What I would like to do is basically just call this, but in fact, yeah, I am going to have play on the wake, in fact, because I'm going to call this using an animation, not a script. Okay, so if it's by animation, you do need some kind of a trigger to actually play the audio. And the spatial blend is going to be on 3D, and it's going to be a linear roll-off, just the same as always. And what we're going to do is uncheck this by default. Okay, and what we're going to do is go into the enemy fort and the animation. Okay, and then we're looking for enemy hurt. Now as I play through this, I can see the animation. I might be better off, in fact I'm going to switch all these gizmos off so that I can see better. I might be better off looking at it from this angle, I'm thinking. So as the enemy gets hit, he kind of flies around like that. Now it looks kind of weird at the moment because he's sort of stood in place. I think he would potentially make the noise about there. Okay, so what I want to do is press record and click on hurt sound, and I just simply want to switch that on. It's obviously going to play on the wake, so it's going to play that audio sound. It's going to go on to about there, and then I just simply want to switch it off again. Okay, so it on, off. Okay, and that will make the sound, and that's a great way to actually link the sound directly with the animations, or specifically where you want it to appear in your game. Okay, so you can control that using your animations, and there's the actual hurt sound element right there. Okay, so when I do a walkthrough later, I'm not going to do one yet, I'm going to do it a little bit later, we'll test that out and see how that sounds.